Is Danielle. Without further ado, our presenter is Danielle Flores, and I would be honored to be able to read the bio for Danielle Flores. Danielle is an only child and a grandchild. Her grandparents were born and raised in Mexico. She was born in Chicago and spent a couple of years in Texas after birth. Danielle's mother faced many challenges as a single mother, providing for them. Despite the difficulties, Danielle reasoned with the rebellion she embraced and chose to honor her grandparents by breaking cycles of limitation. She attended Quincy University and graduated the top 10% of her class with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. At this time, she is enrolled in a master's program in public safety administration. Her exposure to the police department began when she worked as a 911 dispatcher for Calumet City, Illinois. For 3 years, in 2016, she became an officer with the 4th District, the Chicago Police Department. Woo-woo! And she is fulfilling her passion, inspiring youth within a structured program established within the police department and the community at large. Let's give it up for Miss Danielle Flowers.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I've been a police officer for 4 years, and when it comes to social media and violence, especially now, we see a lot of it. And I work with youth, so they're always on social media, always. So I guess we can just get right into it. So social media and community violence. So how many of you remember things such as AOL dial-up or thesaurus? I may look kind of young, but I've used these too. I did use a thesaurus in school, and I do remember AOL dial-up. I couldn't imagine life with AOL right now because I would probably go crazy. But I'm also going to take you real back. And how many of you remember having to sit in front of your TV to hear about events or to have to purchase a newspaper at, I want to say I remember buying newspapers at Walgreens. How many of you remember that? So all of these things above, normal to many, but very foreign to generations now. We're in the age of technology, camera phones, portable computers, which I'm using an iPad right now. It's a fast-paced world with everything at your fingertips. There are approximately 5.15 billion unique mobile phone users in the world, with approximately 300 million of those phones coming right here from the United States. Approximately 91% of the internet users access the internet through their mobile phone. So I don't know about you, but I am constantly on the phone. And anytime anybody says anything, my response is always Google it. So I'm always on the internet. Phones continue to improve from tiny little handheld computers to with vast amounts of technology. You have facial recognition, video editing, access to home alarm systems, and anything else. Honestly, you can really imagine phones do it all. Over the years, many different forms of social media have been created. Today, some of the most popular ones are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, and Twitter. I think I'm forgetting a couple, but those are the main ones, and those are the ones that my youth talk about constantly. I actually was forced to do a TikTok video with one of my girls too. And when I say forced, I mean she came, she showed me how to do it, and she made me do it. Each platform has their own unique design and how you interact. Social media allows access to people you would never have had interaction with before. They're at your fingertips just one click away. Unfortunately, while some social media is used for positivity, like staying in touch with family, connected with family across the nation and worldwide, there are some people who use social media very negatively. So how many of you have social media accounts? I know I forgot to do the poll, but if you guys want to raise your hand or anything, yeah. How many of you have social media? Because I know I have quite a few. I have maybe like 3 out of the ones that I named. So I'm going to give you some social media facts that honestly I was very, very surprised with. So we'll start off with Facebook. Facebook was created in 2004. The global number of users of Facebook is 2.6 billion, with 223 million being here in the United States. And the United States population is actually 331 million. So out of 331 million, 223 million people have Facebook. So that's like 2/3 of the United States population that has Facebook. So Facebook is the #1 leading social media platform. 65% of the users are under the age of 35. The average time spent on Facebook daily is about an hour. Twitter, it was created in 2006. The global number of users is 330, 48 million being here in the United States. 500 million people access Twitter each month without actually having an account. 63% of the users are between 35 and 65. So average time spent is only about 4 minutes. However, 500 million tweets are sent out each day on Twitter. Snapchat was created in 2011, 229 million active users, 79 here from the United States. More than half of Snapchat users are rarely young, 15 to about 25. More than 210 million snaps are sent daily. So 210 million snaps are created daily, and 331 million is the United States population. So that's actually really close. Again, that's like 2/3 of just the people would be sending snaps, and yeah, that's daily. Instagram was created in 2010. 1 billion active users, more than 500 million of them use the platform every day. 120 million are from the United States. 71% of the users are under the age of 35. Average time spent on this application is 53 minutes. So YouTube is the next one. Created in 2005. 2 billion users worldwide, 201 viewers are from the United States. 90% of the users are between the ages of 18 and 44 years old. So it's a pretty big range compared to some of the other applications. 1 billion hours of video are viewed daily. 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute worldwide. And then finally, we have TikTok, which was created in 2016. 800 million users worldwide, 39 from the US. 41% of the users are between the ages of 60 and 24. Average amount of spent on this application is 52 minutes. More than 1 billion videos are viewed every day in the last year alone on TikTok. So if some of these numbers didn't blow your mind, I don't really know what else to tell you, because they definitely blew mine. I was very surprised when I was researching this. With that being said, can you see how far social media can reach and how often people are on there uploading, reading information, watching videos, checking statuses? Social media has made people accessible, places accessible by a simple hashtag. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Instagram, but the hashtags, anything you hashtag, you can click on it and every picture related to that hashtag will pop up. Events, conflict, crime, and videos, unfortunately, videos of murder and crime. Far too many times I've been on the internet personally and have seen videos that people forward from cartels and just violent crimes. People have Facebook Live suicide, which that was a big controversy. Very recently, it was a man on Facebook Live who committed suicide.
Say that again. What did you say?
Okay. Does somebody have a question? No? Okay. All right. With a simple search bar on Google, you can find anything. So how does social media impact that violence? We'll go through some examples. The very first example that I kind of wanted to talk about was there's a Netflix documentary. I don't know how many of you watch Netflix. I love Netflix. It's called Don't Mess with Cats, but the word mess is something else. Um, it's a man who wanted to be famous. I believe he was like from Russia, and he began by torturing animals. He would upload videos of him torturing cats, kittens to be exact. And the more views and the more attention that he received, he began to um, up his videos. So he unfortunately made it all the way to the part where he decided to murder a human being live on video and then posted that. Eventually, a Facebook group of people who were very determined to figure out who he was. They found out who he was. They found out his location. They sent everything to the police, all the videos, how they came up with where exactly in the world he was. And they actually found this man in Canada where he was eventually arrested for the murder. And they found he put the body in a suitcase. They found the suitcase. They also used other technology like cameras from the hotel that he was at. So while he used social media and technology as a platform for fame in a very negative way, they also helped technology and social media also helped catch him. So as we can see, social media reaches many different parts of the world. It can bring you into contact with just about anyone. People can post anything they want and can favor any side they want. So we're going to use current events as an example. You don't have to answer the question. Trump or Biden is a very big one. Now, we're not going to actually answer that or discuss it, but that's a simple question alone that can cause conflict all over social media, along with the protests that have been happening all over the world. The George Floyd incident reached everywhere, and that was to the help of, the news, social media, everything was shared. So people all over the world, rightfully so, were able to protest in whichever way they chose to. When you start to see your friends post about the election or other things, you begin to interject your opinion because you see it as well, or something you feel strongly about. Due to the protests and things like that, I've actually lost friends. I never agreed with what happened to George Floyd. Again, I don't want to get too much into conflict or any of that right now, but I've actually had friends that attacked my profession personally. So they didn't care. They just cared about my uniform. And I've lost a lot of friends during these past months, which is upsetting, but I mean, it's life. So now some may not take social media very serious, but the others take it very personal. So now we'll go on to conflict and altercations. An example, in Waterbury, a young man named Isaiah Collin, 26 years old, was murdered after him and a group of friends were found mocking rival gang members on social media. In 2016, a group of girls used social media to meet at a certain location where a large fight ensued. Social media has been a huge issue in schools as the start of many fights among students. Administrators are now keeping a very close eye on social media, along with having conflict resolution classes and implementing things such as restorative justice. Many different police departments now have social media accounts where tips, pictures, videos, and all other are sent today to report. All others are sent in to report various crimes people have seen. I personally have had to read messages sent to our social media account on Facebook for the 4th District. People do. There's a lot of videos and things that people post that they don't, I'm going to assume that they don't think is wrong, but it is actually a crime. So another good example are the women that were on the news for letting their children smoke marijuana. Those women were found and they were charged because that's obviously illegal. You can't let little babies in diapers smoke drugs. Another one is stalking. Everyone loves posting pictures and stories everywhere they go, whether it be a nice restaurant, club, vacation, location, or simply out with friends. What we never think about is location settings. So many of the times when you upload pictures or videos, your location is actually attached to those pictures and videos, which makes you very easy to find for anyone who might have a problem with you, or unfortunately stalking. Stalking is a thing. Example is Snapchat has a feature where the map actually shows your exact location, like what block you're on, in front of what house. The location is accessible to your friends, and if your profile is public, it's accessible to anyone that may follow you. Simply blocking a phone number is no longer sufficient. You have multiple avenues, such as Messenger, creating different profiles and usernames. So, for example, unfortunately, I have a friend who had a situation where she was being stalked. I mean, the boyfriend was showing up everywhere. And that was because she didn't know her location was on. So he could find her anytime she posted a picture on Facebook or checked into a location. And these are things that sometimes when you sign up for a social media account, you don't know. So be careful and make sure you check your privacy settings. I'm a huge ID channel person, and there was a show called Stalkers. Fortunately, they use platforms like social media to find their victims. There's people out there who become very obsessive. They become very obsessive and they start calling. And if they can't get a hold of you that way, they try to find you physically. On the job, I really haven't had too many stalking cases, but I mean, phone harassment is a huge one. Phone harassment, um, you know, ex-girlfriends or girlfriends messaging other girls on Facebook and posting. I mean, we've unfortunately we have a lot of angry spouses that post pictures of their partner, and it's very hard to get things like that off the internet. So now, thousands of people, you guys heard the statistics in the beginning, thousands and millions of people will see those pictures if they're shared, if they're posted. And unfortunately, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of, so don't send pictures. But you get a lot of people posting pictures of other people all over. I'm sorry, I have a question. Have you noticed connection between domestic violence incidents and in the community? So there are certain, with the pandemic, just to answer this question, with the pandemic, there has been, okay. Yeah, okay. With the pandemic, there has been an increase in domestic violence, a huge increase with people being stuck at home and not having any healthy outlets to get out. But we will get more into depth after this, I promise. So to go back to the rioting and looting, during civil unrest that occurred all over the United States, unfortunately, social media was such a huge platform for groups to get together and commit crimes. I mean, they made their own flyers and they were sending flyers out. That we do have a social media officer who found most of the flyers, but I mean, they were sending flyers out and all over, I mean, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and people were meeting up and they were causing, they were rioting, they were looting, they were causing lots of damage. I mean, they were meeting at police stations to try and burn police stations down. Thankfully, here in Chicago, we were able to find, I want to say, like 33 gas cans around the 1st district and the 18th district. The Wall Street Journal did release an article that spoke about the effects on social media and the riots. They described social media platforms as a battleground for protesters. One video from the riots was shared 52,000 times. So if that was just a video, could you imagine how far a flyer had gotten, a location, any videos? I mean, social media was used to send out flyers by activist groups to meet at certain locations, as well for destruction and looting. Let me see. Unfortunately, with the way technology is, it's very easy to manipulate pictures and to incite more anger as well. For example, I use the case here that happened in Chicago with the 20-year-old Latrell Allen. I'm not sure if many of you are familiar, but when this incident first occurred, it was a shooting between police and a young man. The narrative that was released by the news and all over social media was that he was 15 years old and was shot and killed by the police. Completely unprovoked. I mean, this narrative was spread through social media and news like wildfire. Yet that narrative was so far from the truth. And that narrative actually is what incited the looting that occurred on the Gold Coast stores in Chicago. I believe it was a Sunday night or a Monday night. And I mean, the true story for that shooting was Mr. Allen was 20 years old, not 15. And in fact, he ran away from the police and he opened fire at police first. Police returned fire, striking him, but he was still alive and in stable condition in the hospital. So he did not die. He was still alive and he shot at police first. This false narrative caused a lot of destruction and damage here in Chicago. I work with youth, and most youth do, they don't fact check. They read things on Facebook and they repost and they comment, and that's how they form their opinion whenever they read something on social media. I don't discuss with my youth my personal opinions, but I do tell them to research. I tell them to fact check everything and read to form your own opinion. If it's interesting to you or it angers you and it makes you look at the facts, make sure you research it and read what that is about, which is the same advice I give to all of you. Research, fact check, look it up before you get angry, before you start to form an opinion. Make sure you know what you're angry about. Make sure you have all the facts. Watch the full video. You know, if a video comes out on the police, watch the entire video. Don't watch the 30-second clip. Whenever you hear a case, make sure you research it. Look at the court, the court information. Go out there and find the information before you get angry, before you get upset, or before you think that something is right. Go out there and get the information. Another platform media unfortunately helps with is crimes against children. If you reflect on the statistics and the ages that we talked about in the beginning, you can see that youth are a big portion of users of social media. Unfortunately, crimes against children range from bullying, stalking, to more serious crimes such as pornography and sex crimes, where unfortunately they become the victim. To begin, we'll discuss a little cyberbullying. This is a very common issue among teenagers. Before the pandemic hit, I had actually scheduled about 4 different grammar schools on bullying because it was a huge issue. And with bullying in person in school, I mean, before technology was as big as it is now, if you got bullied in school, when you got home, you were safe. It was your safe haven. Unfortunately, now social media is 24/7. So when kids go home, they're still bombarded with messages, comments, posts to an already vulnerable group of youth where they're worried about their appearance, about looking cool and fitting in. To be bullied at home and then bullied in school, they take it very personal to where it kind of feels like it's the end of the world for them. Talking to youth, sometimes they don't get the bigger picture. They think high school is it, that's their world. They don't realize, after high school, I mean, I'm 30, so I only talked to maybe like 2 friends from high school, and that's it. And when I was in high school, you couldn't tell me anything different. I thought those are going to be my friends for the rest of my life. So when kids are getting bullied in high school, grammar school, unfortunately, sometimes they take unreversible actions. For example, a young lady, Phoebe Price, was 15 years old, and she took her life in 2010 due to cyberbullying. Her case actually brought on international attention to cyberbullying. 13-year-old Rosalie Avila killed herself due to cyberbullying as well. There were a lot of comments of her being ugly. They were making fun of her braces. They were writing it all over her social media, and unfortunately, she felt like there was no out. There's so many similar stories to this that I honestly could go on forever. Children nowadays are not only faced with bullying in school, but it does follow them home. Um, the very popular TV show 13 Reasons on Netflix is also another case. Um, Creating a profile, there's no background check verification. Well, yeah, to move on from bullying, there's no verifications or anything on background checks on Facebook. So relatively anyone in the world can have a Facebook or any account. So a 40-year-old man could pose as a 14-year-old girl or boy. Things like this have created reality TV shows such as Dateline, To Catch a Predator, where they catch adult men arriving at a sting house, is what they call it, to unfortunately engage with sexual acts with minors that they may meet over the internet. This is very common and very scary fact that honestly goes on way more often than parents realize on social media. Meetups can lead to kidnappings that sometimes result in sex trafficking. There is, in my experience as the police, there is a site that's like a black site kind of on Craigslist, where it is young women soliciting, and a lot of those workers, unfortunately, are sex trafficking victims. We here in Chicago have a unit that is specifically for that, but it happens a lot more often than people realize. Social media has also helped circulate some of these videos of people attempting to kidnap children, which personally I feel makes parents more aware of the dangers that are out there. Unfortunately, my sister had a situation in Colorado where two men approached her in the parking lot over my niece. My niece is, just because she's my niece, I do think she's very beautiful, but she really is. She's got green eyes, really curly hair, and these two men approached her, my sister, and began talking to her about how pretty my niece was. Thank God my brother-in-law was with my sister. He was just a little late. Came out into the parking lot. He's like 6'4", 6'3". So the guys, thankfully, they walked away. I started off with the chat rooms as well. No, I'm sorry. Meeting up can lead to kidnapping that sometimes result in sex trafficking. Yeah. I started off when I was younger with social media. I started off in chat rooms, which now I realize was very dangerous. But the older I've gotten, I realized that anybody can pose as whoever they want. It's good. It's good to never give out your information or address to anyone. A lot of youth have admitted to giving out their personal information, which is very scary. It's very scary to know that some youth are giving out their addresses to their homes. If you are adamant and think you know the person, always meet in a public place. The older you get, you're not alone. And desensitization of videos and crimes on videos. This one in particular angers me and does bother me. There are many videos uploaded of fights, crimes on children or animals, attacks on the elderly, all being filmed by someone. The phones have made people very unattached to the world around them, that they see things that are going on and they do not intervene or do anything to stop what's happening. I've heard there was a case on a CTA bus. Well, I don't know. No, it was in New York. There's a case on a train in New York where a man was beating up a woman and ended up stabbing her. Now, I do understand. I don't want people to jump in when there's weapons involved. But even in the beginning, people just recorded. Nobody helped her. Nobody called the police. Unfortunately, the woman did pass away. There are also the videos that circulated where there was a group of youth punching people in the face downtown. They were all over, and they were just punching random people on the street downtown. Things like this make people become not sensitive. They become just not sensitive to violence anymore. It's kind of like being on a job. Sometimes you see something so much that it almost becomes routine. So social media makes it very easy for people to witness things like this, and it just doesn't bother them anymore. While we spoke about negative aspects of social media, do not let it scare you away from it. Social media does have very many positive aspects, especially during the pandemic we've been in. With proper precautions, you're able to check on families, see pictures of the new additions to the family. You can have conversations with family on posts about pictures, funny pictures. There's a bright side. Educating yourself on the dangers and things that can come from social media can help you stay away from conflict and stay away from negativity. I leave you with one piece of homework, and that's I'm not sure if a lot of you are familiar with the show Black Mirror on Netflix. To get really specific, it's season 3, episode 1, and it's called No Side. It's a perfect depiction of a real life Instagram, and how frenzied it can get people for likes and shares and to be liked by people, and the things that you'll do, the things that people will do to be popular on social media, and how much social media can run people's lives. The entire show in general is very interesting, and honestly, if you have time, I say watch it. And that's really all I have for you today. So, any questions?
Okay, so this starts our Q&A portion of our trauma-informed symposium. Any questions?
I have a question. When it comes to like working with youth, since you said that you work with a lot of youth, and since you're of course part of this workshop and everything, what do you do to implement? Because I know you said that a lot of your friends have like attacked you because of your profession, which is like, you know, that's what's happening in our world right now, sadly. But what have you, as you know, with your profession, with your age, like you're still young, like what have you done to implement like mental health? Like I feel like you would definitely be like that advocate for mental health when it comes to youth. So how have you been implementing that with like the younger people, the younger kids?
I've been trained in restorative justice, peace circles. It's kind of hard right now, like I said, because of the pandemic, but I make sure to, every time I talk to my youth, every time, to let them know it's a safe space. I think it's very important for kids to be reminded that they can talk to you. I do, I push journaling, because with youth, it's kind of hard for them to things out. They're so used to texting, they're so used to messaging. A lot of them aren't used to face-to-face contact. So I do push journaling. I make sure that they know that they can talk to me about anything. I do try to share some relatable stories that I've gone through when I was younger. I try to relate a lot with them. I try to make sure, and I always tell them, if I can't help you, we will figure it out together. To me, that's very important, because I want them to know I don't know everything, because I really don't. But if I don't know the answer, we figure it out together. I constantly check in on them. I have a group of older youth right now that I work with at least weekly. They're from, my youngest is 13, and my oldest is 18. And I check on them constantly in our group chat, and I always ask them, are you guys okay? Sometimes they don't want to respond to me in the group chat, and they'll message me personally. And I just make sure that they know that I'm here for them, and whatever they need, I'm usually here.
Thank you. That was awesome.
You're welcome. I'm like, I hope I
Danielle,
answered it.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Go ahead.
There's a question on the chat that says, can you speak more about ways to engage youth around understanding how to appropriately use social media?
So in my opinion, Like I said, I only have a group right now only because of the pandemic. My group's a little smaller, but workshops work the best. Kind of something very similar to this, where I would go through the dangers of, you know, their profile setting, the things that they put out there. The youth that I talk to, I do tell them. I do make sure to tell them to keep your things private, because that's social media has made it so easy for them to put everything on the internet, and they don't realize how far, you know, when you post something, it stays there forever. Even if you delete it, it'll pop up in your memories, it'll pop up, you know, in places that you don't really realize it'll pop up. Like the biggest one was Snapchat. Everybody thought that when you deleted the snap, or when it went away after 24 hours, that was it was deleted. Well, now you can go through your memories, and all the snaps that you took are all still there, and it pops up in your memories now as well, just like how Facebook did. So maybe when we can have bigger gatherings, it might be easier to have more workshops on social media. Yeah, but we work very close with the state's attorney, and we do workshops on bullying, conflict resolution, violence. Oh, I don't know what just happened. Sorry, gang violence, things like that. So maybe I can even ask her to, maybe me and her can work on a social media one, because that would be a very good idea.
Okay, great. There's another question. It says, since the symposium is on racial trauma, can you speak to how Black and Latino youth are specifically affected by cyberbullying compared to white youth? The amounts, forms of bullying effects, and any information on Indigenous and Asian youth as a comparison is also welcome.
Okay, so I'm not a big expert on that. I am, you know, Hispanic, Latina. Most of my youth are either Hispanic or African American. But I think in general in the world, it's very hard. And I've told my youth before, you can do anything you want. You can be the mayor, you can be the president, you can do absolutely anything you want. It's gonna come with hard work. Unfortunately, sometimes being brown or Black, you're gonna get dirty looks. You might get a little pushback, and you might have to work a little harder, but it's possible. I did everything on my own as a Latina. I did everything on my own, and if I listened to all the negative comments and negative things that people told me throughout the years, that I couldn't do it, that I wouldn't be the police, I wouldn't pass the academy. If I listened to all that, I would have still been a dispatcher or still been working at Underground Station selling shoes. So I just try to emphasize to my youth that while there are going to be negative looks and they might get treated differently, that it has nothing to do with them, and it has more to do with the person doing it to them. All they have to do is just keep pushing, and if they need help, call me, call their parents, call teachers. There's a group of people that are always behind youth, family, friends. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert on the differences, but I just try to instill positivity and motivation into the youth that I work with.
Okay. Do you have a resource or frequently asked questions or tip sheet related to safe social media that you would recommend giving to youth and parents that we're working with?
You know, I don't have anything. Like I said, I worked with the ASAs for cyberbullying, bullying. I can make something, though, the things that I used for even this presentation to come up with some statistics, but I don't have any resources in general. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a question also that protesting and violence is a complex issue on both sides, and you described the violence that resulted from the false narratives of the Latrell Allen shooting and violence that erupts from some subgroups of protesters. And the participant said that they've seen firsthand the police escalating violence against some protesters. Can you share your perspective about how the police force responds to protesters instigates and escalates violence, and your thoughts on how the police can de-escalate violence in the face of anger and rage against some aspects of the policing?
So, okay, so again, I'm not going to get too political and into the subject, but what I will say is this time's hard for everybody, for police, for people of color. It's very difficult. When there are peaceful protests, and I have been downtown for peaceful protests, you're fine, right? Everybody's fine. Everything's peaceful. Police are still hyper vigilant because you don't know. We don't know. We don't know who's out there. For instance, I want to say, well, it was a few years ago in Dallas, 8 officers were shot. They were out there protecting. There was no violence. There was no pushing, fighting. The police were just out there, and they unfortunately were shot. There was 8 shot and killed. So when police respond downtown and they're out there for the protests and riots, police are on edge. We're on edge because you may be fine. You may be, not fighting, not trying to fight with anybody. But unfortunately, there are some people out there who the hatred that they have built inside of them is so much that they will do anything. I'm not saying that everybody out there that was protesting was wrong. I absolutely 100% agree with the officer who was involved with the George Floyd stuff, for him to be fired, prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I 100% agree with that. I don't think any officer I spoke to thought he was right. So the amount of violence that has occurred from that, it's heartbreaking personally, because I'm community policing. I work with the community. It's what I like to do. I love working with youth, and now it's made everything harder because now I have to personally fix something that I didn't do. Somebody else did it. So that's the only thing that I feel has been lost, is people are forgetting that everybody's different. And it's on both sides. It's on both sides, because I've met officers who are upset and they're just done. All they want to do is answer their 911 calls, and that's it. So I think more things like this, where officers are able to talk to people normally, I think that helps. Is it going to fix everything? No. The world isn't perfect. So you're still going to have bad cops. You're still going to have bad people. You're still going to have pissed off cops, and you're still going to have pissed off people. And that's just the reality of the world.
Okay, there's another question that says, can you speak more about how to use social media in a positive way, especially to engage youth in restorative practices and peace circles? Perhaps share some that you could use when conducting peace circles with youth?
Okay, so I've never done a peace circle over Zoom, or because it's hard. Just like this, I even said it to Shani before I started. I would have loved to have done this in person. I would have loved to have done it in person, because you lose, there's something lost in translation when you do things on the, FaceTime, the computer. I may be young, but I hate the phone. I'm not a big technology person or social media person, because I feel like things done in person, I can read your body language. I can read your tone, text messages, things are lost in tone. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Can you say the question one more time? I lost my train of thought.
Sure. They just said if you could speak more about how to use social media in a positive way.
Okay.
And then there's a follow-up question that also says, do you or other police officers interact with youth on social media? That this person was a teacher 10 years ago, and she and other teachers generally didn't want to interact with students online. Has that changed? Also, could peace circles and other techniques be hosted online via Zoom or Instagram Live?
So I think the reason why some officers and some teachers don't want to interact with youth on social media is because there's a lot of gray areas, right? They're minors. Things can be misconstrued. So some people are a little more paranoid than others when it comes to things like that. I try to whoever my youth are, I try to meet their parents. I try to talk to their parents. I try to make sure that I know the parents and the parents know me, so that if their child does call me at 9 o'clock at night because they're crying and they want to talk, that nothing is misconstrued. So I'm very open about the communication. The group me that I have other officers on there as well. So there's some, most of the time there's other adults that are involved with the messaging and stuff like that I have with my kids. I've done circles at Washington High School, and a lot of the time, I mean, we'd have girls having a bad day, and I just picked up on it, and I would just ask and try to talk to them about their day. We've had stuff here at the station. I do still try to meet with my youth with masks and social distancing and things like that, because especially right now, they need something. They need something. So we've actually have been thinking about trying to do some events. I've been going to the high schools to attempt to see if there's anything I can do virtually with them, whether they give me a block of time, whether the students want to meet. With the things that have been going on between CPD and CPS, I have been personally trying to repair that. Me, my sergeant, and a few of the other officers in the CAPS team, we've gone out to these high schools and have tried to talk to the administration to see if there's a way we can repair the relationship. Just because CPS doesn't want CPD in the school doesn't mean that we still can't talk to kids. I just don't take things personal. So if there's a kid that wants to talk, I'll talk to them.
Great. Somebody also asked, amidst all of this, how do you manage your own mental health?
Lots of reading, lots of time with my friends that are not the police. When I leave work, I try to leave work. I try to hang out with people who aren't the police. Lots of walks with my dog. I'm pretty sure she hates it because I've taken her on long mile walks. Vacation. Vacation's a big one. I actually start vacation on Saturday, so thank God I'll be off until the end of the month. Yeah, I just try to do the things that I like to do still. Read, hang out with family, hang out with friends, work out. I mean, just normal things that everybody else likes to do. Play volleyball.
Great. There's another question about human trafficking and social media. There have been stories about, like you said, people that post and have public social media accounts and have been targeted either by child predators or human traffickers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a very big thing. So even outside of work, my guilty pleasure is documentaries. I absolutely love documentaries. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are not very careful. Sometimes, and I don't know if it's the profession that makes me paranoid or hypervigilant or whatever you want to call it, but even my friends, when they do basic online dating, I always tell them, make sure you know their first and last name. I need a plate number, turn your location on, because you really don't know who you're talking to. So the advice I give people usually when they're dating is a really good app is Snapchat, because Snapchat is like live video, live pictures. So if you meet somebody online and you talk to them on Snapchat, if they don't send you a picture of what they really look like or a video, or you're not able to talk like that, then it's probably not who you think it is. FaceTime always helps too, but it's a big thing. It's a big thing where people are, some of the big cases are when these girls meet these guys online, and the guys are, most of the time it's girls and guys, by the way. So I'm not trying to like generalize. I mean, girls can do it to guys too. Girls can do it to girls, but usually it's mostly guys sending the messages to the girls. They say, hey, you want to come visit me in this different town? And I've seen quite a few documentaries like this where the girl shows up and it's not what she thought at all. And now she's involved in prostitution. Like now he's not let her go home. He's taken her IDs, he's taken her money. Because unfortunately, realistically, even me as a woman, as a police officer, I know that there are men out there that are going to overpower me. I'm a woman. I know it. It's inevitable. So unfortunately, these situations happen, and then these girls are stuck into prostitution. And then that kind of ties into like the whole process of domestic violence. They're brainwashed. They're made to believe that, the guy will kill their whole family, and these women stay. And it takes a lot to break people out of that mental cycle to actually admit to what's happening to them or them run away. But there's a lot of documentaries out there based on all of that, and it is very much real and alive right now.
Somebody also asked, can you talk more about the youth newscast?
Yes. And the person who asked that, her daughter's in it, so I'm super excited. But I actually started, I want to say a couple months ago, I'd say the beginning of September, end of August. Me and my youth, we started a 4th district newscast. And I really pushed for them to come up with, the ideas, the interviews, the questions. One of my girls does all the editing on the videos. One of my boys actually made the intro to it. So if any of you are interested, it is called Youth 004 Change, and it's on YouTube. They have done phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I am so proud of them, very proud. Like I said, they made their YouTube page. They have an email address. They actually have an event coming up on the 15th at the Juan Diego Center, where they are teaching parents how to do e-learning. They're teaching parents how to upload assignments, how to check the assignments, how to log the kids on, because there was a lot of parents out there struggling. And this was all their idea. It was all of their idea. They decided to do it. They just came to me with the idea, and I supported them. I told them, I said, okay, if you want to do this, I'll find the place, I'll set it up, and you can do everything else. You do the PowerPoint, you tell me what you want as the presentation, just tell me what you need, and I will help you. And I like to do that because now they know how to run a meeting. Now they know what they need. Now they know how to do the setup. They know everything that'll help set them up for the future if they ever have to do something like that. So I'm very proud of them. So if you have time, go to YouTube, look up Youth for Change, like, share, comment. They're doing a phenomenal job. One of their videos actually, a lot of people did like, they did a citizen edition for a traffic stop, where again, their idea, they decided to, we used like 5 different phones for deals. So it was great. It was great. They come in on their own time. They come in on their own time once a week. They just tell me what day they can, and I come and I help them and I sit down with them. Their event on the 15th is actually during my vacation, and I'm going. So I told them, I said, the only thing I'll do on my vacation is any work with you. Other than that, nobody better call me. So, yeah, that's about it. That's their newscast.
Is there anything that parents can do to kind of help protect their children from these online predators? Do you have any suggestions that parents can enact so that children are not being kind of groomed and being lured into meeting with them?
So it's kind of hard to be behind your kid 24/7, but having access to their social media accounts, having their login, their password. I suggest to not let Snapchat even be something that your child has, only because it is very, once somebody sends them a message and they open it, it's gone. Leave it. Unless you save the entire chat for 24 hours, but even after 24 hours, it's gone. So you don't know what they're talking about. You don't know what they've sent to each other. Other than that, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that's manageable if you have their login and password. I would just check it daily or have it set up on your phone where you get the notifications. Um, Possibly even limiting their access to it. Like, you know, you only get 2 hours a day. You can't have the app on your phone, you know, things like that. I mean, there's privacy settings and parental settings and almost everything. Maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any kids of my own, other than the youth that I work with. So it's a little harder. I'm not too sure, but like my friends, they all have kids and they limit their access to social media and they check it constantly.
Okay. There's a question asking, is the police force doing anything such as to help promote better social justice, such as bias training with the officers?
So CPD has always had that. I mean, we have procedural justice. We have the name of it is slipping me right now, but we have a lot of trainings and a lot of officers are supposed to do. I want to say, I don't know, they just up the hours yearly that you're supposed to do. But there's a lot of stuff that comes out that we are made to watch videos and things like that. And I mean, I don't know. I've never had an issue with it. Officers that I've worked with have never had. I've never had an issue with those officers. And God forbid, I mean, if somebody were to get into an argument with somebody, I kick them right off of my call. I don't, you know, I don't like to make jobs harder for myself just because somebody wants to argue with, you know, a person on the scene. But officers do. At least for CPD, I can only speak for CPD. We do get a lot of force mitigation. We have to do use of force, I believe, every year now. Our use of force policy was already updated, so we're ahead of the game. We haven't had too many issues. CPD, we have not had too many issues. Everybody has body cameras, so we're on track.
Okay. There's another question is, with all the analytic research on social media platforms, how can we spread the most effective resources to help our youth recover from trauma?
I mean, a lot of, so that's why I push journaling and that's why I push talking, because a lot of youth they have issues with expressing themselves. They don't know how to express themselves. Sometimes you have youth that express themselves in anger, where they want to fight, where they want to, you know, where they want to hit things. So being able, you know, with counselors in school and adults with patients to be able to talk to them and figure out what's actually wrong with them. Spreading, I know if we're trying to spread the awareness of social media, it's kind of easier to spread it on social media as well, if that makes any sense. So if social media is such a huge platform, that is the way sometimes that some youth only get the information on social media. So just more adults being aware and being able to spread the information to youth, and parents being aware of their children's change in behavior as well. That's also a big one.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle, for your awesome presentation on all the questions. I want to just double check one to make sure. Okay, I think that's it. Let me just double check before you close to make sure I have all.
Okay.
Oh, here's one. Well, there's a question regarding the body cameras. And the question is, why aren't there more enforcement of body cameras being turned on?
So I understand. Okay, so sometimes you got to put yourself in other people's So if I'm driving in my squad car, which this has happened before. So I'll give you a prime example. Me and my partner were driving. I was driving. He was in the passenger seat. We go to a call with a man who was shooting from his back porch. He was shooting into the alley. I don't know what was wrong with him. It ended up being like a mental issue. So he's shooting from the back alley, right? So we go out there, shots fired. We're driving, our windows are down, we're looking through the alley, and all of a sudden we hear shots fired. Literally, I promise you, it sounded like it was right next to me. If I would have saw a person, I would have been like, oh, he's shooting. The shot sounded right next to us. So I slammed on the brakes, and me and my partner got out of the car, and we went to go look, okay? With that situation, the last thing on my mind was my body camera. I heard shots. I heard somebody shooting, and I wasn't sure if it was at me. I wasn't sure if it was at my partner. It ended up turning into a hostage situation. But nobody, no matter how much training you get, nobody is prepared to have somebody shoot physical bullets at them. Do you like? And anything can happen in a split second. So, I mean, another case, me and my partner, again, driving down the street. We heard a call of a domestic going on. So we decided to go take a look. You know, we were right around the corner. Drive down the street, and the guy is physically beating his girlfriend in the middle of the street. Didn't think about the body camera. My partner hopped out the car. We start chasing him. We catch him. Sometimes, so now the buffering on the camera is 2 minutes. So after that, you can turn it on, and it still records the 2 minutes. It's just no audio. Unfortunately, like I said, sometimes when your adrenaline hits and you see something like that, you're not thinking about the body camera. You're thinking like, holy crap, they shot at me, or I've got to chase this person. So now you run to them. Now to have the body cameras be recording all day, every day, you got 8 hours sitting in there with your partner. Sometimes your day is not eventful. Sometimes all you're doing is just answering, paper calls. So now if you and your partner are talking about your personal life, now all of that's recorded on your body camera. And, that's not something we want either. Because what if I just want to tell him about, I don't know, I have a ex-boyfriend and I'm mad at him and I want to talk to my partner about that. I don't want everybody in my police department knowing that. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard. It's hard, but for the most part, I mean, body cameras, when something doesn't happen literally in a split second and you're going to a call, your body camera is turned on. If not, you are asked about it. People, your supervisors check. The supervisors go through all the body cameras and check. So, I mean, it's never going to be a perfect thing. Again, we live in an imperfect world. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Danielle, for your openness, your transparency, and your honesty with integrity. We appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing with us about the connection with safe usages of social media and how it affects our community both negatively and positively. We greatly appreciate you. We're going to have to close on the questions now, but
Okay.
I want you to know that your input was appreciated. Danielle Flores is a community police officer with the 4th District. And when she returns from her vacation, if you have more questions for her, you want to just engage in getting to know her, she's always in the community. That's how I met her. And she's a wonderful person to grow and embrace the 4th District with. So she's accessible. So I just want to thank you all for everything. And am I saying it right? Mosey? Pronounce it for me.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good. Pretty close. Moises.
Is it Moises?
Moises. He says, enjoy your break, Danielle.
Thank you.
Enjoy your break.
Everyone is
Thank
thanking for
you.
your awesome presentation. Everyone on here is sending thanks to you. So we really, really
thank you.
And thank you for everything. Next we're
And
going. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if anybody needs to, I mean, if you have any questions, again, I'm not perfect, I'm not an expert, but Danielle.Flores@chicagopolice.com. You guys can always email me. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you. Very informative.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
So our next debriefing will begin. Are we going to start now? Or are we going to start at our scheduled time at 11:45 for our debrief and relaxation?
Shani, could you please take over from here? I know you had a activity for us to do before we started the debriefing.
Yes, we're going to have fun. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just randomly look at names, and we're going to play that fun game that's called Two Truths and One Lie. And so I'm going to pick with some people and ask them to share their two truths. You can send them in the chat. I'm going to call your name. I'm just looking and randomly picking. And then we get to guess if it's the truth or a lie. So I think I'm going to pick with Mose since he taught me how to use his name. So send in your chat two truths about you and one lie. I think I'll pick with Luz Santos, send us two truths and one lie in your chat. And Rookie, if you can send me two truths and one lie, I'm gonna pick a few. Let's see. I think I will highlight. Let's see, Greg Van. I don't want to pronounce your last name wrong, but Greg Van H. If you can send me two truths and one lie. Once again, we thank Danielle for the awesomeness of her presentation also.
Yes.
All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.
Yes. That was such an awesome game and such an awesome presentation by Danielle Flores. But without further ado, we're at the part of the program where we're going to be turned over for debriefing and relaxation by the phenomenal Margaret M. Morris from Yoga Care. Margaret Morris, also known as Quantum Negress, is a multidisciplinary artist and a yogi. Her work focuses on giving folks permission to slip to let go. Relax and let yourself be what you are and build the world we prefer. She has guest facilitated at Columbia College, Chicago, the College of Lake County, and University of Indiana's Bloomington campus. Margaret is an alum of Chicago Dance Makers Forum Lab Artist Program, High Concept Labs Artist in Residence Program, Sea Yoga, Zen Shiseitu, 5 Directions Wellness, Reiki, among others. She is a proud member of teaching staff at Chicago Care Yoga. And without further ado, I'd love to turn it over to Margaret M. Morris.
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be sharing this digital space with all of us. Let's take a moment first to take a breath together. So whatever situation that we are in, sitting, standing, if you feel like standing up, feel free. If you want to lie down on your back, feel free. But just come to as comfortable as a way of being in the space that you are in that you can. And let's exhale all the air that we have in the body right now. Just let it go. And let's take a deep breath in together. And let's let it go. Yeah. And take another breath in. And there we go. And let's have one more breath all together. first, I want to remind us, I have this crease on my head from the stuff on the floor, the rubber. I want to remind everybody that this internet that we are speaking with each other through right now is a portal. It is a doorway that we have opened and are walking through to share energy. And we always share energy when we have it on. We always share energy when we are when we're communicating through this portal. So let's ground ourselves as best as we can in a feeling of love, because we are sharing energy together. And yes, we experience a lot of things that make it a challenge to connect with love, yet it's always here with us. And it's always here in us. So let's ground in ourselves in that feeling by just as easily as we can thinking of a person who it is very easy for us to respond to in the energy of love. Maybe that's your child or grandchild. Maybe that's your sister or your mother or your brother or your partner. Maybe it's a teacher. Whoever it is, let that person be in your heart right now. And we'll let that person be in our hearts right now. And take that feeling that we have for them, that shining, expansive, protective, respectful feeling. And let's project it out. Let's project it out to the space in the room around us. Let's project it out to the rest of the floor that we're on, in whatever building that we happen to be in. Let's project it upwards towards the sky. And let's project it downwards towards the center of Earth. And as we're sending this love energy downwards and upwards and out, also filling ourselves with a feeling for who we are and what goes on with that. Accepting sound, accepting the feelings that may come up, complementary or with, along with love. Accepting whatever stories may arise within us. Let's allow the fullness, the big, giant energy that we are carrying in these vessels, our body, this love, to radiate out as far and wide as we will, as we feel. Let's give ourselves permission. Write ourselves some permission slips to be exactly who we are and what we are. and to love every bit of ourselves. And let's breathe that into ourselves. And let's also reflect it out. So that we are radiating a sense of acceptance, of encouragement, of joy. Of the bliss of sharing those feelings with ourselves and with one another. Now let's bring our attention to the sensation around our hearts. If you want to touch your heart, you can bring your hand to your chest. If not, you can focus on breathing into that area. And bring the attention to the space between the shoulder blades. And letting that space expand with the breath. And letting it relax in between the breaths. Now let's take our awareness down from our heart into the space right underneath the sternum, right down here. Bringing our energy of our attention and our breath. The chakra that helps us to move through inertia. To our solar plexus, where we synthesize the energy of the sun that causes things to grow, the sun that puts all this beautiful information into our melanin, in our skin, and in our organs, and in our hair. And the sun that gives us the strength to translate that information into loving and kind action. Now let's bring our attention down to the bottom of our belly, the bottom of our torso, the floor of our torso, the pelvic floor. And as we breathe into the bottom of the belly, let the pelvic floor expand and relax. And draw up the information and the wisdom from the earth. As we exhale, and now let's take our attention further down the bottoms of our feet. I'm going to place the bottom of my feet on the floor so that I can be more grounded. Now grounding into the soles of our feet. Letting the soles of the feet relax and spread into the support of the earth. Letting the toes spread out. And if you're wearing shoes that are making it impossible for your toes to spread out, you have permission to kick those shoes off right now. Letting the soles of the feet relax and spread so that we can allow the energy of the earth to come up through our bodies. Allow the wisdom of the earth to come up through that conduit, up through the soles of the feet, up through the legs, up through the pelvis. Just relaxing. Up through the action chakra, solar plexus, up into the heart. Re-enliven the heart with all of that beautiful wisdom and love from the earth and sunshine synthesis happening in our energy system. And let's bring that energy up through the throat, relaxing the throat, letting the throat relax. You're welcome if you want to just swallow, let the throat relax. The throat, which gives us the ability to communicate all of the wisdom and generosity and infinite and expansive energy from the earth and from the sun, so that we can communicate love. Send it out. And let's bring the energy up even more to the space behind the center of the eyebrows. And if you'd like to tap that space with your finger, you're more than welcome to. The energy going up into the third eye. The third eye, which can only open with the energy of love coming up through it. So let the energy come. And remembering our connection to the ground through the soles of the feet. Remembering our connection up through our legs, through the creativity within our pelvis. And the power to manifest that creativity in the world through love, through the communication of love. So that our awareness of the truth can be complete. Let's breathe into the fullness of that whole conduit that we have enlivened and enriched so far. Let the whole body expand. And as we are breathing expansively, let's bring energy up. Let's bring the energy up right to the crown of the head. And here at the crown of the head, our crown chakra, our fountain coming up and connecting the energy of the earth with the energy of the heavens. If you haven't already and you would like to, feel free to close your eyes. If you'd like to keep them open, feel free to keep them open. Let's take a few moments to be with ourselves, to be with our energy. And to the degree that we like, to let our energy be expansive and connect with the rest of the energies around us. And to the degree that we can let ourselves, let it be loving. Let it be kind. And also let's accept everything within ourselves that might seem counter to loving and kind. Because accepting the fullness of ourselves is what lets us love. And loving is what lets us rebuild the world in the ways that we need it to be. Now, if you're sitting and you're able to stand up, let's stand up together. And standing here together, let's ground the center of the heels, ground across the balls of the feet. Let the top of the head float away from the earth and let the bottom of the feet ground themselves. And let the energy of the earth and the energy of the sun, the energy of the cosmos, the energy of source come into the body. And align it. Align it with our own self-acceptance, our love, our respect for ourselves and one another, so that we can be free together in this world that we are creating. If you're standing, sit down if you'd like. Let's take 3 grounding breaths together. Grounding the feet, grounding whatever parts of our bodies are stable on something, the floor, the seat, whatever it may be. And exhaling the stale air. Let's inhale together. And let it go. Once again. And let it go. One more deep breath. And letting it go. Letting our senses, our sensations be fully here, fully now, fully in the moment. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. Ms. Cherry, I'm not sure if we want to do some talking together now. We have a few minutes. If anybody would like to have a question or comment, let's do that now.
Thank you so much, Margaret. We appreciate you doing these activities with us these last few days. It's been great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, really. I hope that it has been as helpful to you as it has been to me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to go to Katie. Katie is going to start our raffle before our closeout. Thank you, Katie.
All right. I just need to find the wheel. I know I'm sharing it. All right. I put everyone's name in this wheel for our raffle. Some people have left. I tried to remove them. So hopefully everyone who's here right now and who was here for the session, their names are here. I'm going to take a spin. You do need to be present to win. So once you hear your name, just put a message in the chat that you are here, and also send Kiera your email address, or she'll send you a message in the chat box as well about how to claim your prize. Armani, are you still here? Uh-oh, I don't think. We'll give it a second. I don't see Armani's name in the participant list anymore. So I'm going to remove. That means everyone gets another chance.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah, Brittany J.
Woo! Yay! Thanks, guys.
Yay, Brittany.
So exciting. I never win anything.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being a part of it and staying on for the session.
Brittany, please send me your contact information to my email. It is listed in the chat.
Okay,
Ms.
will
Sherry,
do.
you
Thank
can
you.
go ahead and close us out. You're muted, Ms. Sherry.
I
There you
want
go.
to thanks to all our presenters and our participants. I'm so glad that Brittany got a chance to win. Our symposium wouldn't have been a success without all of you. To the South Chicago Neighborhood Network sponsors, partners, and organizations for your support in making the event happen. Thanks to the SCNN Trauma Committee, Tierra, Eleanor, Vanessa, Deb, Adrian, Jessica, Tania, Shoni, Caitlin, and for all your tireless work and frequent adapting. Say kudo, yay! Thanks to Katie Larson for your technical guidance and your overall genius. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone.
And let's not forget, guys, please vote. Please go out and vote. Here's the information if you still need to register, and please encourage others to do the same. Thank you all for joining us.